हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धेर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वञ्च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So we are saying the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Here Bhagwan reveals his main vibhutis, many of them. So Bhagwan says that among all that which cheats and there is a deceit involved, I am gambling. Tejas Tejasvinamaham, and I am the Teja in all those who are Tejasvi. I am victory in those who are victorious. I am the effort in those who put forth effort to achieve something in this world. I am the goodness in good people. In the Vrishni Vamsha, I am Shri Krishna, and among Pandavas, I am Arjun Dhananjaya, and Muninam api aham Vyasaha, among all Munis, I am Veda Vyasa, and among all Kavis, I am Ushana Kavihi, that is Shukracharya. Among all Kavis, I am Shukracharya. So in this way, Bhagwan has shown lots and lots of his vibhutis, and through these vibhutis, we can meditate on Ishvara. Through these glorious vibhutis, we can contemplate and meditate on Ishvara. So some more vibhutis now are revealed in the following verse number 38. Dando damayatam netirasmi jigishatam maunam chaivasmi guhyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham. Bhagavan says that dandaha damayatam asmi, that among those things which are meant to control, among the controllers, Damayitrunam, among those who control, among that by which one controls. So Bhagavan says, I am Dandaha, I am that danda, punishment or control, damana. Adantanam damakaranam, those who leave all discipline, those who go beyond discipline, to control them, I am that dhamma, I am that danda. See, unless there is some fear, people cannot be controlled. So some fear of some harm, some sorrow, then we are controlled. So those who don't follow any discipline, to control them, there should be some fear, some danda. Therefore, in the society also, that there are rules, regulations, laws, and people are aware of those laws, and they are also aware that if one breaks that laws, then this will be the punishment. So out of fear of those punishments, people can be controlled. If there is no fear of punishment, then you can't control anyone. So whether it is, let us say, the traffic control is there or other controls are there, it is possible only with fear. Even now with this pandemic, which has affected the whole world, and there is a fear of getting infected. So if one doesn't want to get infected, one has to follow certain discipline, like one has to wear the mask, and one has to keep the hands clean, wash them regularly, and observe safe distance from other people, and so many rules we have. So those rules are there, and people follow them out of that fear that if we don't follow, we might catch this infection. And if we catch this infection, that will be very painful, harmful, and sometimes very fatal, sometimes can be fatal also. So out of fear, one observes certain restraint in one's life. So that is called danda. So Bhagavan says that I am that danda. Among those who control, I am that danda. So even when Bhagavan takes avatar, he controls all these negative forces also, and protects the good. So paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So all those dushtas who are there, Bhagavan controls them through force, through power. Like Ravan, who had become so very arrogant with his powers, and he used to create so much havoc in the whole world along with all his men. So Bhagavan took avatar, and he tried to convince that Ravan to give up his adharmic karma and follow the path of dharma. But when Ravan did not listen to him, then Bhagavan fought with him and killed him. So that is the danda. So Bhagavan says, among those who control, I am the danda. With that danda alone, everything gets controlled. Bhagavan is also called the Antaryami, the inner controller. And Bhagavan is the master, Sarva Loka Maheshwaraha, is the master of this whole world. So how Bhagavan manages this entire world? Through proper control, proper restraint at every level. It's quite amazing. So through pain and through pleasure, Bhagavan controls the whole show of this world. If we do something wrong, we get pain. If we do something right, we get pleasure. If we follow the path of dharma, we get pleasure. If we follow the path of adharma, we get pain. Sometimes we see the effect directly. If we put our finger in the fire, we get burnt instantly and feel hurt. So we restrain ourselves. So through this danda, Bhagavan controls the entire world. So dando damayitam asmi. So I am that danda. In all, everywhere, wherever you see control, see restraint, then there I am present as danda. Fear of that punishment. Then Nitirasmi jigishatam. Then Bhagavan says, those who want to gain victory in this world, jigishatam, those who want to become victorious, in them I am niti. Niti means good policy. See, if you want to gain victory or gain success in any field, we should follow certain principles, certain policies. Hmm. And when we follow those policies, then we gain success in whatever field we go. But our policy should be holistic. Our policies should be beneficial for everyone. Like nowadays in the world also they talk about the win-win situation. That if I have to deal with someone, that not only I should benefit from that dealing, but the other person should also benefit. For example, if somebody wants to do business, of course he or she is doing business to earn money. But in the process of earning money, one should not cheat others, one should not harm others, one should not destroy the nature, one should not disturb other beings. So, in the process of gaining some profit, I should not harm others, others should also benefit. So, when everyone benefits, then it is good. So, our policy in business, our policy in governance, our policy in our own family matters, wherever, in whatever field we are, our policy should be holistic, dharmic, proper. If it is like that, then we definitely will gain success. I had quoted that verse that day, which is like a secret of success. Which verse? The last verse of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishnaha Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutihi Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Bhagwan says, Sanjay, it is said by Sanjaya, Sanjay says that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, that wherever there is Yogeshwar Krishna, in whichever side, and in whichever side there is Dhanurdhara Arjuna. So Krishna and Arjuna should be together. And who is Krishna? Yogeshwara Krishna. And who is Dhanurdhara? How is he? What you call Dhanurdhara. Arjuna is with Dhanush. Means ever ready to fight, ever ready to put forth effort, ever ready to strive in the right direction. That is Arjuna. But he is supported, he is backed, his chariot is being driven by Yogeshwara Krishna, who is Sakshat Brahma, who is the spiritual truth. So if we want to achieve any success in this world or in the spiritual world, wherever, we should have Krishna and Arjuna. We should have that spiritual support in us. Our actions, our life should be controlled by spirituality. Bhagwan Krishna should be charioteer of our life. But we should not just sit there without doing anything. We should be like Arjuna. We should hold our bow and arrow and fight with all the enemies, destroy all evil forces, destroy all obstacles, overcome all obstacles, and move towards success. So we have to put forth effort. Our Purushartha should be there, but we should sit in a chariot driven by Krishna. If we have this policy in our life, see, this is a very deep and very beautiful shloka, so please remember this shloka and contemplate on this shloka. So if we have the thing indicated in this shloka in our life, if this is our policy, then we will achieve success. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrihi we will gain prosperity. Vijayaha, victory. Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutihi. Bhutihi, abundance, wealth. Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutihi Dhruva Nitihi. And this itself is a firm policy. This should be our firm policy. This should be our firm policy. Our effort should be backed by spirituality. And our spirituality should get expressed through right effort. Both should go properly hand in hand. Both should go hand in hand. Even when we talk about Karma Yoga, we talk about doing karma, but dedicating it to Ishvara. Karma Yoga is not becoming lazy. Karma Yoga is not giving up all effort. Karma Yoga is not just dropping everything. Karma Yoga is doing all work properly, but dedicating it to Ishvara. So when Ishvara and that effort is put together, that is a very beautiful policy, and we will be able to attain all success in life. So you remember this? So Bhagavan says, Niti Rasmi. Bhagavan says, I am the Niti. I am the right policy. I am the right principle. See, even great companies and organizations and other things who are doing good, they have their own niti, their own principles. They should have. And based on that principle, when they function, they succeed. Otherwise, they fail. They might appear to succeed for a short time, but in the long run, they will fail. Because this is the general rule of this world. Satyameva jayate. And yato dharmaha tato vijayaha. Wherever there is dharma only, there is the proper victory, not otherwise. So Bhagavan says that niti is my vibhuti. Niti rasmi jigishatam. All those who desire to gain victory, I am the niti in their life. So holding on to this niti, they will be able to attain success, attain victory. Okay? Then maunam chaivasmi guhyana. Bhagavan says, among guhya, among all that which is to be kept secret, gopyanam, guhyanam, among those things which are secret or those things which should be kept totally secret. What is the way? What is that? What is the way to keep things secret? Bhagavan says mauna. Chup, silence. Mauna. See, if something is there within me, others can know only when I express. If I keep quiet, then it will remain within me only. It will remain guhya. And there are certain secrets, there are certain mysteries that even when we express them, they are not totally comprehended and they remain guhya. Like this Shastra, this Adhyatma Vidya also Bhagavan had said in the 9th chapter, Ki Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidamam. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. It's a royal secret, a royal knowledge. So Mauna is Bhagavan's vibhuti among all that is which is guhya, which is secret, which has to be kept secret. About this knowledge also, it is said that unless the student approaches the teacher and asks It should not be just revealed. Because even if it is revealed and a person is not fit, not ready, will not be able to comprehend, will not be able to understand. So, maunam chaivasmi guhyana. And certain things, when they are kept mauna, they gain more power, more strength. So, for example, a mantra is given to us by our teacher with Ashirvad and all, proper procedure. That mantra should be kept deep within our heart, and we should chant it regularly and not reveal it to anyone, just like that. Then it develops more power, more force, more strength. It is kept deep within. So maunam chaivasmi guhyanam. Then jnanam jnanavatam aham. And Bhagavan says that among all those who are wise, knowledgeable, those who have great knowledge, Bhagavan says, I am that knowledge. Jnanam jnanavatam aham. I am that knowledge. I am the knowledge in them. See, we have our equipments, our mind, our intellect, our chitta, ahankar. We have our senses. So with the help of this equipment, we gain knowledge. We gain knowledge through our senses, pratyaksha praman, anuman through inference, upaman through comparison, arthapatti by studying the effect we understand the cause, and through shastra praman, through agama praman also we gain knowledge. So when we utilize this praman properly, and we contemplate on them properly, we gain proper knowledge. Whether we talk about the knowledge of the world or knowledge of ourself, we gain by utilizing proper praman. Bhagavan says that knowledge in a knowledgeable person is myself. See, Bhagavan is that Sakshat Brahma, and that Brahma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is of the nature of pure existence, pure knowledge, and infinite and bliss. When we gain knowledge with our buddhi, we gain particular knowledge. We gain what we call Vishesha Jnana, knowledge of an object. But what is the basis of all this knowledge? That pure knowledge, objectless knowledge, Nirvishesh Jnana. That Nirvishesh Jnana is the very nature of that supreme reality, Jnana Swarupa. Just like when we look into the world, we see everything bright and brilliant. What is it? It is from where this brilliance came. It is the brilliance of that sun. The sun rays gets reflected in the different objects of this world, and we see the reflected rays of the sun. But at night, when we look up in the sky, everything looks very dark. Everything is dark. But why it is dark? Because there are no objects. There are no objects up in the sky. But if there is an object, let us say if the moon is there, then the moon looks bright and brilliant. Why the moon looks bright and brilliant? Is that brilliance of the moon? No, that brilliance doesn't belong to the moon. That brilliance belongs to the sun. The brilliance of the sun gets reflected on the moon, and we see that reflected brilliance. But when the moon is not there, the sun's light is there, but we can't see. So that sun's light, that pure sun's light, is not seen. Only when it is reflected on some object we can see. But the reflected light is also belongs to the sun. Similarly, the pure knowledge of Bhagwan is like the light of the sun. And the knowledge which we gain through our buddhi is like the reflected light. So in all the knowledge of the world, everyone who has gained any knowledge, everyone who is knowledgeable, that essence of that knowledge is Ishvara alone. Is that Supreme Brahma, Jnana Swarupa Brahma alone. Therefore here Bhagwan says, I am that Jnana in all those who have knowledge. Just like the sun can say that I am the brilliance in all that you see in this world, in all the objects which you see, the light in all the objects belong to me. Similarly, Bhagwan says, the knowledge in all the beings is my knowledge alone. I am that knowledge. So, Jnanam Jnanavatam Aham. So, in this way, Bhagwan is revealing his vibhutis, but they are endless. Bhagwan has said that my vibhutis are endless. So he just concludes talking about his vibhutis. In the next shloka, Bhagwan says, Yacchapi sarva bhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Bhagwan says that yaccha api sarva bhutanam bijam. Bhagwan says the bij of all beings. Understand the bij of all beings as myself. Bija means just like a seed. From that seed only the tree grows. Similarly, so many different beings are there. Infinite different beings are there in this world. All of us are there. And we keep growing. We keep acquiring body. We keep evolving. We keep performing different actions and getting the results. So there is a constant growth, constant movement. Constant things are achieved. Constantly we keep becoming something or other. Constantly all beings are growing. So what is the seed of all these beings? What is that force? What is that power because of which everyone is growing? Bhagwan said that seed is myself. I am the seed. This Bhagwan had said in the 7th chapter also, that I am the seed of all the beings. So here also, Yaccha api sarva bhutanam bijam, that which is the seed of all beings, tad aham Arjuna, that I am. See, all our samskars, all our vasanas, all our desires, everything exists in that Bhagwan only. when the whole world goes into pralay, everything merges into Bhagwan. And when again the Shrishti happens, when the creation takes place, again all beings are born. And they are born with their respective then samskars. And they live in this world experiencing their joys and sorrows. So Bhagwan is the seed of all these beings. So yachapi sarva bhutanam bijam tad aham Arjuna. But afterwards, finally Bhagwan says that, hey Arjuna, you understand that there is nothing in this world and there is no one in this world who is devoid of me. It's a very important statement. Bhagwan says, na tad asti vina yasyan maya bhutam characharam. Bhagwan says, yes, yasyat characharam. Yat bhutam characharam. All the beings, stationary and moving, like plants, trees and all, they remain at one place. And birds, animal, fish and all, they keep moving. So these are called charachara, moving and non-moving beings. Bhagwan says that there are no living, there are no moving, non-moving beings in the entire creation who are devoid of me. In fact, there is nothing which is devoid of Ishvara. Shankaracharya ji writes, न तद अस्ति भूतम चराचरम चरम अचरम वा मया विना यत् स्यात् भवेत् मया अपकृष्टम परित्यक्तम निरात्मकम शून्यम हि तत्. If anything is devoid of Ishvara, then those things will become shunya only, they will be non-existent. Because nothing can exist without that Atma. If that Atma is not there, that Niratmaka, it is Shunya, it is non-existence only. Therefore, everything in this world is what you call pervaded by that Ishvara alone. There is nothing which is non-divine. See, let us think about it with an example. I will give an example. Let us say you go to a gold that shop, jewelry shop. You want to buy a gold necklace. So you see a gold necklace in the shop, displayed gold necklace. In fact, you see two gold necklaces in the shop, displayed in their display box. So you ask them, how much does it cost? So they say that the necklace cost, let us say, 10 lakhs. One necklace cost 10 lakhs rupees. And in the window, in that box, which is kept in front of you at a distance, you see two necklaces, same type. So two necklaces will cost how much? If one necklace costs 10 lakhs, what will be the cost of two necklaces? Come on, you can answer. How much? 20 lakhs. Okay, very good, 20 lakhs. Now, very interesting. You approach that box where the necklace is displayed, and then you discovered a very strange thing. Though you were seeing two necklaces, but there is one necklace and there is a mirror. And in that mirror, you see the reflection of that necklace. From a distance, when you were looking, you were seeing two necklaces. But when you went ahead and looked at it closely, you discovered that there is one necklace and there is one reflection of that necklace. Now tell me, what will be the total cost of both these necklaces? The total cost will be 10 lakhs only. But what about that other necklace, which is same? Everything is same. The color, the design, everything is same. But that necklace which is seen in the mirror has got zero value, has got no value. Why it has got no value? Because though it is appearing like a necklace, it doesn't have gold in it. So one necklace has got gold in it and another necklace doesn't have gold in it. So the necklace which have gold in it is worthy, 10 lakhs, and the necklace which doesn't have gold in it is shunya, is zero, doesn't have any value. If this is understood, now this world which we are seeing, Bhagavan says this world has Ishvara in it. This world is not shunya. The world has Ishvara hidden in it. Therefore, the value of the world is value of Ishvara. The value of the world is Ishvara alone. See, this is very important. The world which we see is not mithya. What is the meaning of mithya? Mithya is like that reflection. Mithya is that something is seen or something we believe to be there, but which doesn't have the essence, which doesn't have the stuff. World is not like that. The world has Ishvara hidden in it. The world is not mithya. The world is not valueless. The world is divine. Bhagavan says there is nothing in this world which is devoid of me. Therefore, one who says or one who sees a world devoid of Ishvara, that person is seeing just an imaginary world. That person is seeing a reflection of the world. That person is seeing a false world. That person is seeing something which is not really there. So that person, what that person is seeing is mithya, is only in his head. So when we say mithya, it means it is only in our head. We are seeing a world without understanding that it is divine. Then that understanding is mithya. And that understanding is mithya. That is a misunderstanding. World is not mithya, but our misunderstanding is mithya. So our own mind acts like a mirror. It just reflects only the names and form. If it just reflects the name and form, then it is a mithya understanding. But when we hold on to the world as it is, then it is true. Therefore, the scriptures say the world is divine, but it is what is seen is constantly changing. So it is a changing existence. It is called asat. Asat means changing existence. But the Sat Tattva is there as a support. It is not devoid of Ishvara. The reflection of that necklace in the mirror is devoid of gold. But there is a real necklace which is not devoid of gold, which is gold. But the necklace may keep on changing. You may keep on changing the design and all, but gold remains constant. So golden necklace is not devoid of gold. It is gold is there. But a reflection is devoid of gold. So the world is not devoid of Ishvara. The world is divine. So this you have to remember, understand and keep it in mind. Though I keep repeating this, but it should be kept in mind. Because a lot of harm is being done by those who keep saying the world is mithya. By saying the world is mithya, they are denying Ishvara also. They are denying Ishvara. And this is not the teaching of the Upanishad. It's not the teaching of Shankaracharya. World is not mithya. World is divine. But all that you see keeps on changing. So it is a changing reality. So transcend the change and hold on to that Ishvara. See, when we see the reflection of the necklace in the mirror, suppose we see the real necklace and the reflection. Suppose you pick up that real necklace and throw it away, you will lose the gold. But suppose you pick up that mirror and throw it away, you will not lose anything. If you throw away the reflection, you won't lose anything, because reflection doesn't contain gold. But if you throw the real necklace, you will lose the gold. Similarly, if you throw this world thinking that it is mithya, you will lose Ishvara also. So this one has to understand properly. Don't get confused. So Bhagavan says, कि न तद अस्ति विना यस्याद मया bhutam characharam. Hey Arjuna, understand that there is nothing in this world devoid of me. Everything you touch, everything you experience, everything you contact, I am there. I am present. I am present there. So nada tadasti vinayasyat maya bhutam characharam. But all that you see through your eyes and you see the names and forms, they are my vibhutis. They are my expressions. They are countless, infinite. Infinite expressions I have. There is no end to them. But through this infinite expression, you look, you penetrate, you dive deep and recognize me. मेरे को पकड़ो, मुझे प्राप्त करो, मुझे देखो, इसी जगत में मुझे देखो. Don't try to see elsewhere. Don't go anywhere else. Look for me in this world itself. That is very important. Further, Bhagavan says, the next verse, Nantosti mama divyānām vibhūtīnām parantapa esha tuddeshata proktah vibhūtirvistaro maya. Bhagavan says that I have been telling you my vibhutis, but alas, there is no end to my vibhutis. Na antaha asti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa. He parantapa, that there is no end to my divine vibhutis. I can go on and on and on and on and on. I can show my vibhuti in every aspect of this world. See, now Bhagavan has mentioned only few, but there are so many varieties, so many things, natural phenomena in this world. Bhagavan can go on and on and on and on and on. Bhagavan says there is no end. Na antaha asti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa. Like if somebody wants to talk even of the various types of gold ornaments, oh, there are so many varieties of them are there in the whole world that one will keep on talking till the end of the world. So Bhagavan says, there is no end to my vibhutis. So I have revealed to you eshat tu uddeshata proktaha. I have just revealed few sample vibhutis to you. The main few vibhutis. Ekadeshena. Sankshep se. Few vibhutis I have, briefly I have mentioned to you. Among all the vistar, among the infinite vibhutis which I have chosen a few and expressed to you. See, when we go on a shore, you see that sand everywhere. So much sand is there. And from those sand, you pick up nice looking, colorful sand grains. Just pick up few of them and hold them in your hand. They look very pretty. Different colors you can see. Different shapes you can see, and they look so nice. But whatever you have collected in your hand are very, very less compared to the vast stretch of sand which you see there on the beach. Similarly, all that vibhutis which Bhagavan has expressed here, they are few, like just picking up little bit sand grains. Like Bhagavan says, there is no end to my vibhutis. They are vast, they are infinite. There is no end. Bhagavan says, I will give you some formula now. That using that formula, you can see my vibhuti anywhere you look. I will just give you some formula. So applying that formula, you just look and you will be able to yourself see my vibhuti. Okay? So what is the formula? So in the next verse Bhagavan says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimad urjitameva va तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंश संभवम. Bhagavan says that yad yad vibhutimat sattvam, that in all this creation, sattvam, in any object of this world, whatever you see anywhere, in whatever object, if you see something glorious, vibhutimat. Vibhutimat means specially glorious, having some special charm and beauty and power and strength. Special glory you can see in anything of this entire cosmos. If you are looking at the stars, if you see some bright and shining and powerful star, understand that as my vibhuti. If you are looking at the planets and you see some planet which is most glorious and beautiful, understand that as my vibhuti. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimat, and that which is full of wealth, full of substance, full of greatness, shrimat, Lakshmi Yukta. And Urjitam, and that which has got lot of urja, lot of energy, strength, power. Any object which you see very, very valuable, having lot of power and strength, having its own glory, then you understand that as my vibhuti. Tattadeva avagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhavam. You understand that this has this is born from my little tej only. Understand that as glowing by my teja, by little of my teja. It's like the sun. If you ask the sun that, oh sun, please tell me how to see you in this world, how to recognize you in this world, the sun will say that wherever you see bright and brilliant reflection, you understand that is because of me only. It is born from my brilliance. Similarly, here Bhagavan says, you just look at this beautiful world, and wherever you see anything special, anything glorious, anything invaluable, full of strength and power, understand that as something which is born from my little amsha only. Tat tad eva avagachatvam mama teja amsha sambhavam. मेरे तेज के एक छोटे से अंश से वो निर्माण हो गया है. See now, just to give an example, now look at this sun, S-U-N, sun, not S-O-N. So the sun, Surya, so bright and brilliant. You can't imagine the brilliance of that sun. See, it is so far away, but still its glory, its beauty we can see. It's very far. The light takes about 8 minutes to reach here from the sun. It's very, very far. Very bright and brilliant. Now, at night, it's so dark, and in your room, bedroom, you switch off the light, it's very dark, and you go to sleep. And you dream that you are on a beach It is bright and sunny in your dream. And in your dream you look up in the sky and the sun is shining with full brilliance that you can't even look for long. You have to shut your eyes. So that bright, brilliant, shining sun in your dream, from where has it come? It is born from your own mind. It is born from a little portion of your mind. And this mind which we have is a little portion of Bhagwan's Shakti, Bhagwan's power. So all that we see in this world is born from a little portion of Bhagwan's power only. He has given little bit power to us in our own head, in our mind. So Bhagwan says that this is a general formula. You remember that wherever you see something glorious, wherever you see, whatever you see which is very valuable, which is full of energy and power, understand that as born from my tej only. Tattadeva avagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhavam. And understand them, all these objects, as my vibhuti only. So I won't be able to tell you all the vibhutis one by one, but I am giving you this formula that you see. And there are these devotees who have this vision of Ishvara in their eyes, that wherever they look, they see Bhagwan's vibhuti everywhere. Though Bhagwan said that I am among all mountains, I am Himalaya, Bhagwan's devotees not only see Bhagwan's glory in the Himalayas, but they are able to see Bhagwan's glory in other mountains also. They are able to see Bhagwan's glory everywhere. Bhagwan said, my vibhuti is the Gangaji. But Bhagwan's devotees see Bhagwan's vibhuti in Yamuna, in Saraswati, in Kaveri, in other rivers also. Because they have got this vision. They are seeing Ishvara everywhere now. Isha vasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. ईश्वर से ही पूरा जगत व्याप्त है. यत किंच, everything is pervaded by Ishvara and Ishvara alone. So thus Bhagwan tells about his vibhutis to Arjuna. Very fascinating, very beautiful, most wonderful vibhutis Bhagwan has conveyed. There is this one more shloka. This shloka also connects this chapter with the next chapter, the 11th chapter. In the 11th chapter, Bhagwan will show his Vishwarupa, most fascinating. And about it, Bhagwan briefly tells in this last shloka. So what we will do, before we take up this 11th chapter, because it's Bhagwan's most fascinating darshan we will have, his Vishwarupa darshan. So before we take Bhagwan's that Vishwarupa darshan, we have to prepare ourselves. We should chant Bhagwan's name, meditate on him, and request Bhagwan to give us the divine vision. Okay? So what we will do, we will take this shloka after a break. and begin the 11th chapter. So today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday, and then we have Sunday. So 2 days we will just have a break. Okay. So 2 days chutti. Monday I will summarize the 10th chapter and take that last shloka also, and then if we have the time we will begin the 11th chapter. Okay. So till then you take care of yourself, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and pray to Bhagwan and chant his name. Whatever name, favorite name you have, you please chant Bhagwan's name at least for these 2 days before we take up the 11th chapter. You develop that intense bhava for Bhagwan. It's very important because the 11th chapter is different from all other chapters. In the 11th chapter, Bhagwan will be showing his Vishvarupa. So if we want to see that Vishvarupa, we should get Bhagwan's blessings, his Ashirvad. So to get his blessing, you spend time in chanting his name. Okay? And we will meet again on Monday. Till then, you take care. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. जय जय राम। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।